Well, welcome to a special edition here.
Today in sports history?
I didn't put that on there. I have no idea on how that got there.
I'm pretty sure I didn't do it. I'm assuming today in sports history, the Jets lost the football game.
At some point, yes. All right, there we go.
Okay.
How did I do that? Oh, I can create banners like this one.
Really?
It was one of the things. Look, here's another one and another one. And anyway.
Sorry.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
now is a sleeper like the guy you just hired for you brought in on our team? Who the hell is the third string running back for Cleveland?
Okay, so understand. First of all, I look like I'm huge. Thank you, compared to you, who is like that. So anyway. That's Seth Kamens. I'm Sean Palmer, Seth and Sean Sports Radio here on StreamYard. And we are in a special Thursday edition. It seems like every week we're in a special edition with a different time. We are vagabonds.
We are the nomads of Back Sports Page.
We can thank Seth's personal life for all of this.
Yes. And if you ever have two kids.
I don't know. That's all part of it. I'm not going to have them. It's very simple. When you don't have them, you don't have to worry. So anyway,
I'll take my vagabondishness.
Vagabondishness. Okay. So anyway, we're going to go through some Hall of Fame conversations today. We'll talk a little NFL. And to answer your question, Seth, the person that we picked up on the Seth and Sean Sports Radio Fantasy League team, by the way, Derrick Henry is the man. Again, right? I mean, for all those people that question whether we should keep Derrick Henry at any price.
Who questioned whether we should keep Derrick Henry at any price?
There were people that were like, some of my friends who I was talking to were like, yeah, but you could protect X at like no money or protect Derrick Henry at 36. And I'm like, yeah. We're going to protect Derrick Henry the same way we protected Le'Veon Bell. Until we can't, we will. And next year, we can't. So this is our last year of Derrick Henry-ness. So we picked up Demetric Felton.
Who the hell is Demetric Felton?
All right. So Demetric Felton is the...
Very rarely do I see a guy picked up on a fantasy league that I've never heard of, let alone by my own team.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say.
Were you just doing this to screw with me?
No. No, I wouldn't have screwed with you for $7. For $1, I might.
You paid $7 for this guy?
So, okay. So let's hold on.
What the hell's going on here?
Before you have a heart attack.
What in the wide world of sports are you talking about?
Let's talk about this. So the Brown. So he is the lead punt returner and lead kickoff returner for the Browns. Okay, that's his primary role. Now and in our league, Seth, we get points for kickoffs and punt returns. Okay. That being said, he is also the guy that is subbing in when Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham are hurt, which is right now. So if Baker is going to have a good game, and we had Le'Veon Bell on the bench, who's on the practice squad. So I
have no trouble dropping Le'Veon Bell.
Okay.
As much as that hurts me considering what he's done for us over the years, but us fantasy people are mercenaries by trade. So that's not really a problem.
It's fair. But so we picked this guy up. Look, we have to take flyers. We have very little depth, and he is a running back. He's not a wide receiver. So when we get into the bye weeks, if he is viable, we have another guy. Just another guy. He's our last guy on the bench. But you and I over the course of time have picked up the Ted Ginns of the world, right? Mm-hmm. The guys that'll get us 8 to 10 points in punt and kickoff returns for a game, for a singular game.
Yes.
That is the modus operandi for picking up this guy. Yes, it cost us $7, but yes, last week he went for 19.5 points.
You spent $7 on this guy?
Did
anyone else? Do we know if anyone else bid on him?
No, I haven't checked. Last week he had a touchdown He had 50 yards receiving, 2 catches. He actually had a half a tackle. He had 40 yards kickoff returns and 20 yards punt returns. You know what? That's not a bad game. 19.5
Yes,
points.
but you spend $7 on a guy we're probably never going to play.
Yes, I did that. Okay, well, let's go through the guys that are not going to play for our team this year. Cam Akers, definitely not going to play for our team this year.
True.
Jay Dobbins, not going to play for our team this year. Le'Veon Bell, not going to play for our team this year.
How much did we spend on Le'Veon Bell?
3. Sterling Shepard might actually play for our team this year.
I'm starting Sterling Shepard this week in my other league.
Well, here's the thing. Do we start him over Mike Davis?
I think so. I mean, Mike Davis has not been overwhelmingly impressive.
But he plays against the Giants, who have not been overwhelmingly impressive.
Fair. It's a discussion to be had.
It is. So, and I'm very much looking forward to the Giants and Falcons game, as not only is it one of the worst games on the schedule, the game that I actually have to watch the entire game because we have so many participants in this one game. But also just to see if the Falcons could go to Giants Stadium and put the Giants at 0-3. And
as opposed to the Jets going to Denver and seeing if Denver can put them at 0-3.
There's a difference here. Look, there is a difference. You, being Giants fans, are in the 3rd year of your rebuild. You have some expectations.
We're not in our 3rd year of our rebuild. We're in the 9th year of our rebuild.
Okay. My point is, you have a quarterback for the 3rd year, right? Mm-hmm. This is the year you supplemented. This is the year you got the Kenny Galladays. This last year was the year you got the Blake Martinezes. You spent the money to get better after you got the quarterback. The Jets are in year 1 of that, not year 3. There are no expectations on the Jets this year. If we win 6 games, it is a miracle. If we win 3 games and get the 3rd pick in the draft, it is a lovely sentiment. And you know what? If we went 1-15 again and actually got the 1st pick in the draft instead of stupidly winning a game or 2, I would be happy, but I'll tell you, it would be just because it would be just like every other time when the Jets have the 1st pick in the draft. There is no guy that is that guy.
And you know who we play this week, right?
Oh, we play Nabate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm well aware of our matchup this week. We are favored by 17 points, and he has Carson Wentz as his quarterback, who probably will not be playing. His backup is Zach Wilson.
Oishk.
And Zach plays Denver, in Denver.
Yeah.
I like our chances.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see if he's actually has Mr. Wentz in his lineup right now. He does.
He does.
But
he does.
And they're counting him for 18 points. They're counting Mr. Wilson for 12. So we may be favored by 24 going in. You know what? As long as Derrick Henry is playing in the second half, we have a fighting chance every single week. Because last week when he put up 6 in the first half, I was concerned. But no, this guy throws out what, like 34 in the second half?
I'll be honest. I'd have rather seen Danny. We didn't need his points. It was overkill.
It was overkill. I won't.
Did we have the most points in the league? Did we have the most points in the league the first 2 weeks?
No. So the first week we did not. Remember, we had 0 points out of our quarterbacks.
That's true.
We barely won to begin with. So definitely not. But we did have the most points last week with, I think we had 224 or something.
234.
It was insane. So anyway, the NFL came out with their modern day era nominees for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, especially the new ones. And I'd like to go through these with you and see what your thoughts are.
Okay.
All right. So, and there are a couple of interesting ones, and we'll also talk about the NBA, where there was a retirement this week, which I'd like to see where you put your hat on whether this gentleman makes the Hall of Fame. Okay, so
not JJ. It's not JJ Redick.
It is JJ Redick.
A Hall of Famer?
Okay, so let's remember the difference between the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yes, I get it. It's basketball all encompassing.
So
no.
AP All-American.
No.
4 years.
No. Let me see if I can get this clear. No.
No chance.
No.
But Leitner made it.
Leitner was one of the 5 greatest college players of our lifetime. They won 2 championships. He was the player of the year.
So was Redick, by the way.
He beat Alonzo Mourning and Dikembe Mutombo as a freshman to get in, or as a sophomore, I forget which. He hit 2 game-winning shots to put them in the Final Four, including the greatest shot in the greatest college game of all time. No, not a comparison.
Do you compare J.J. Redick's pro career to that of Christian Leitner? I think Redick might have actually had a better career.
Redick may have had a better pro career, yeah.
Okay, so Leitner's a Hall of Famer, right?
Yes, but 100% based upon his college. Okay. And then he waited for the Dream Team.
Well, come on. The Dream Team, how do you put him in for the Dream Team when he basically did, nothing on the Dream Team? And the reason he was on the Dream Team was because they needed a college player. I mean,
look, they could have taken Mourning. They could have taken Shaquille O'Neal. They took Leitner. And as a college player, that's the right choice.
So Redick is a All-American first team in 04, 05, and 05, 06. Mm-hmm. Player of the year in 05, 06, right? Averaged his senior year 26 points a game. He was a
very, very good college player.
But he was not great. But he was not Christian Leitner.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to bring up Christian Leitner, and we're going to look at
the stats. It's not a stats thing.
It has to be, though.
If you ask 100 people who watched Christian Leitner versus 100 people who watched J.J. Redick, Christian Leitner, the most clutch college player of our lifetime, most likely, led them to 2 championships, including against the unbeatable UNLV team. Mm-hmm. An All-American, I don't know his.
Only All-American as a senior, not as a junior.
Okay.
I guess my point is this, and this is where I have trouble comparing eras. And I know you're going to say it's college basketball, it's the same year, it's the same game. You're absolutely right with the same game. When you say that Christian Leitner was, if you ask 100 people who had a better career, Leitner or Redick, is it possible that because of the time period in which Leitner played, we only saw Leitner games? We didn't see any other game. There weren't 30 channels of basketball on at the same time. So when Redick plays, you have much more of a variety of games to watch. So we're not all watching the same game. Does that make sense?
No.
So if you're an Oregon fan, well, it may not make sense, but if you're an Oregon fan and you have the chance to watch Duke UNLV or Oregon Stanford, you're going to go watch Oregon Stanford. You're an Oregon fan. That's what happens. Back when Leitner played, that Oregon Stanford game probably is not on TV because there was probably only one game that was on TV at a time.
It was in the 1960s or the 1970s or even the 1980s. It was the beginning of the 1990s. ESPN did have college basketball at that point.
Correct, but they were playing the Duke game. That's what I'm saying. They had college basketball on one channel. It was the Duke game, as opposed to when Redick played. So 88 to 92 was Leitner, and Redick was 12 years later.
Yeah.
12 years later, there are 30 channels. You could turn on 6 college basketball games every night during college basketball season now. Okay. So what I'm saying is because we only saw Leitner, we as a collective, only saw Leitner. We appreciate Leitner's game in college a lot better than we appreciate JJ Redick's.
I'm looking at both. I'm looking at at Leitner's stuff.
I'm doing it too. I got them both right here.
Okay, so he was a 2-time All-American. Not one.
Leitner was
2-time consensus
All-American. Second team All-American for the first one, and then a first team. Redick is both first teams.
Okay.
That was the difference.
Wooden Award winner, Naismith Award winner.
Yep.
3-time All-ACC player.
Yep.
19 NCAA tournament most valuable player. 4-time All. But I guess he hit the greatest shot in the greatest college basketball game of the last 50 years.
Agreed. There's no debate of that. But there are plenty of players that hit the greatest of the last 50 years.
No.
Don Larson pitched the best game in the last 75 years on the World Series stage. He's not a Hall of Famer.
Don Larson was not a 20-game winner or the ace of a staff or ever won a Cy Young.
No, you're right. I'm just saying you could do the best of the best for one moment and not be a Hall of Famer.
Agreed. But he also didn't. In the
course of a season, Roger Maris is not a Hall of Famer.
Agreed.
In my book, he may be in.
No, he's not.
But not in mine.
Leitner was the best college player of his. I don't want to say the best college player of his era. Danny Manning was right there. Who was a little bit before and led a team with nobody to a national title in '88.
Yeah, that was a year before him. So yeah. So they're in the same year.
If I go into my 5 best college players I've ever seen, and I'm just kind of spitballing, so it may not be exact. You're looking probably the forwards are probably Manning and Leitner. If you want to play Leitner at center.
Okay.
I mean, center is probably Ewing or Olajuwon. Again, I'm kind of thinking off the top of my head here, so bear with me.
Sure.
The guards, maybe Jason Williams, maybe Kenny Anderson. No, Kenny Anderson wasn't there long enough. Probably Jason Williams, who was there 3 years. I don't know who the other one would be. Redick, it's not Redick. Redick would be in the honorable mention with 50 other people. A very, very good college, including Juan Dixon. A very, very, very good college player. You want to see a great college player, that's fine. But he's not a Hall of Fame. If there was a strictly college Hall of Fame, absolutely. But not as it does if the whole thing doesn't encompass. He doesn't warrant it. Leitner was at such a high level as a college player, almost similar to a Bill Walton, although Bill Walton had 3 or 4 great. As I said, I'm mitigating here. Yeah. Walton had 3 or 4 great years as a pro, including an MVP in a year where he led a team to his title, and injuries killed him. Leitner didn't have that issue.
Well, you've said before, Walton may be the best college player ever.
Yeah, Walton and Kareem are 1-2 or 2-1, whichever order you want.
So they're a step up even from Leitner. I mean,
but Leitner is a top 10 to 15 college player of all time.
Okay.
And people who are watching this and are saying, "What the hell am I talking about? Why isn't Michael Jordan?" Michael Jordan
No. Michael Jordan's not in that discussion.
He's not in this discussion.
So when the same reason that Danny Ferry and Christian Leitner were not able to move their skills to the pros it's the same reason why certain players are great in the pros and not great in college.
Sure.
And Michael Jordan is one of those players. Michael Jordan was a good college player.
A very, very good college player.
Okay, you want to go very good, that's fine. But he has said this numerous times. He was constrained by Dean Smith's system.
Yes.
Which made him average 18 to 20 points a game, not 30 points a game. He was not a dominant player in college. He was a very good player that hit in a very important shot that won a college championship. That's who he was. In fact, you could make the case that James Worthy was a better college player on that team than Michael Jordan.
You absolutely could.
The best college players, I'm just going through this in my head. I'm not going to use Lou Alcindor and Bill Walton. I didn't see those guys, right? Patrick Ewing is up there. Patrick Ewing was a dominant college player.
Yeah, that's why, part of me, why I've never rated Patrick Ewing as high as other people have as a pro, because as a college center, he was the best I've ever, he was Bill Russell. And because he blocked everything, he was a rebounding menace. He was intimidating as hell. And I don't think he was that as a pro. He was an amazing college player. No argument.
All right. So you got him, right? And then, look, I'm looking on one of these lists just so I don't forget anybody in here. But one of these lists, which is on Bleacher Report, Ewing is number 15. And there's nobody in the last 20 years before that. So then you got Duncan at 18 and Leitner at 19. And is Duncan a better college player than Leitner?
No.
Probably not.
No. Because these lists are typically stupid because they base it on your professional career.
Correct. And this is why I'm rolling through it, right? David Robinson. David Robinson was a
excellent college player
who played on a team with nobody else.
Yep.
And still was able to put up like 70 in the Carrier Dome. Len Bias, who was the Michael Jordan before the Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Danny Manning, Darrell Griffith.
Where is Danny Manning rated?
Danny Manning's 26 out of 50.
That's absurd.
Now, remember, this isn't the last 20 years. This is all time. So
right.
if you want to take umbrage, I mean, we can go through this. Alcindor's 1. Pete Maravich is 2.
Okay.
Oscar Robertson 3. You and I never saw the Big O play.
Yeah, the problem with Oscar is his team won 2 national championships after he left.
Yeah. Walton's 4. Bill Russell's 5. Chamberlain's 6. Jerry West is 7. Bill Bradley is 8. David Thompson is 9. And Larry Bird is 10. I
no real argument on any of that.
I don't have an argument for Magic's 11. Jordan's 12. I would say absurd. Jordan's way too high on this list.
That's absurd.
Gary Lucas, Elvin Hayes, Patrick Ewing, Elgin Baylor, Ralph Sampson. Sampson should probably be higher.
Yeah. He won three Wooden Awards.
Yeah.
That's it. Other than the Jordan, all of those, I like Jerry Lucas being that high. I like I forgot who else you said. That was Maravich at 2 is a little bit higher than I would have put him, but not absurd. And but that to me is a legitimate list. Jerry Lucas being that high, Bill Bradley being that high. They were amazing college players.
So number 29 is Larry Johnson.
Grandmama?
Which I got to tell you, I'm not against that, him being this high. Larry Johnson was a tremendous college player. And that team was his team. Hakeem is 31. Cazzie Russell, Bob Lanier. I didn't know Lanier went to St. Bonaventure.
He did.
Things every day. Shane Battier, 36. Was Battier a better player than Redick?
I think so. Different.
Yeah, different types of players. Chris Mullen at 40. Oh, I loved watching Mullen play. I don't look. Mullen was
a little high for me.
Mullen was a Wooden Award winner. So Bobby Hurley at 42.
Yeah.
And again, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the translation from college to the pros doesn't necessarily happen.
Sure.
For the same reason you may be a top high school player and may not be able to play in college. And this goes to who Urban Meyer said it as he walked across the field this week to Vic Fangio. When Fangio said, good game, blah, 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 blah. The reports are that Urban Meyer said, it feels like I'm playing Alabama every single week. Well, yeah, no kidding. Because
we'll see how long Mr. Meyer is for the NFL.
As we
USC job open.
Right. Well, as we go higher, right? So the top 10% of junior high players play in high school. The top 10% of high school players play in the college. And probably the top 5% of college players play in the pros. So it keeps getting legitimately harder to keep playing. So, yeah. So when you're one of those guys that is an All-American in college, doesn't necessarily mean like Wayman Tisdale was a great college player, just not a great pro. He was a good pro. So, and he was on the All-American list too. So anyway, all right. Now that we spent 26 minutes on a subject I did not want to spend any time on.
It was interesting.
let's move. Oh, no, I agree. Let's move on to what I did want to spend time on, which was the NFL announcing their candidates. Anquan Boldin, good player, not a Hall of Famer to me.
I don't think so.
Now, remember, 4 are required, right? Every year, unlike every other Hall of Fame, the NFL requires 4 players to go in. So just as a little sidebar, these are just the new guys. Devin Hester, an interesting situation with Devin Hester. Probably the best kickoff and punt returner of our era, right?
Yes.
But did little else. So he revolutionized that part of the game, probably. But I'm not sure that warrants getting in.
Yeah. Did Steve Tasker get in?
Steve Tasker, I do not believe has gotten in yet. No, Steve Tasker has not gotten in.
Okay.
All right. Andre Johnson. Now, for a fantasy player, Andre Johnson was a hell of – he gets in the Fantasy Hall of Fame. But no Super Bowls, right?
Probably no playoff wins.
Probably no playoff wins. And then you got Steve Smith with Andre Johnson.
Well, here's the question with Andre Johnson. Calvin Johnson got in as on the first ballot with a team that never won a playoff game.
Yep.
Andre Johnson, while not a Calvin Johnson, was a half step below.
So Calvin Johnson finished with 731 catches, 11,000 yards, just to put it in perspective. Andre Johnson finished with 1,000 catches and 14,000 yards. So definitely, but he also played a lot more years. So
here's the other problem. We've seen every wide receiver with stats like this get in.
Yep.
And Andre Johnson is probably a borderline Hall of Famer to me. But if Isaac Bruce got it, who would you rather have, Isaac Bruce or
Isaac Bruce is the for me, Isaac Bruce wasn't.
Is the Harold Baines?
Is the Harold Baines? He's not even better than Torrey Holt on his own team. I'd rather have Holt. So hold on. So Calvin Johnson has 3 first-team All-Pros. Now, All-Pros and Pro Bowls were actually something of importance at this time. So 3 All-Pros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Pro Bowls. Andre Johnson, 2 All-Pros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 Pro Bowls. Yeah, they're next to each other. They're comparable. Now, was Andre Johnson ever the best at his position? He led the league in catches twice. He led the league in yards twice. He led the league.
We don't know because Houston was never relevant.
Correct.
Again, either was Calvin Johnson, either was Detroit.
Right. And Calvin Johnson. Yeah, go ahead.
I think he's an eventual yes. He probably wouldn't be a first. He's kind of to me in a weaker year.
You taking him or Steve Smith?
I would take him over Steve Smith. Although I like Steve Smith more as a player, but I probably wouldn't take either one in the first.
So offensive lineman, Jake Long and Nick Mangold. Mangold's in.
No.
Mangold's in.
No.
I'm telling you, Mangold's in. Not just because he's a Jet. Not because he's a Jet. I'm telling you. All right. So offensive linemen are hard to deal with, right? We talk about this. Two-time first-team All-Pro, 8 Pro Bowls. Mangold's in. If Kevin Y gets in, Nick Mangold gets in. All right, let's keep going. DeMarcus Ware and Robert Mathis. It just feels like we got 2 guys that on each of these positions that are basically hitting against each other.
DeMarcus Ware gets in. Robert Mathis doesn't. Robert Mathis isn't getting in. DeMarcus Ware is getting in.
Because he won a Super Bowl?
I don't know if I'd vote for either. What'd you say?
Because he won a Super Bowl?
No, Mathis won one too. That has nothing to do with it.
Oh, that's right. And Wilfork gets in. Vince Wilfork gets in.
Probably, yeah.
And Antonio.
But I'll be honest.
Yeah.
No. Only
No,
in
I
the
was gonna
Travis
say-
Henry Hall of Fame.
You didn't let me finish. I was going to say Antonio Cromartie gets into the Dad Hall of Fame. That's about the only thing.
Yeah, the Travis Henry Hall of Fame. The Sean Kemp Hall of Fame.
Sean Kemp Hall of Fame. So some of the guys that are still remaining is Donovan McNabb.
I will be honest. If not one person from all the first year players gets in, I would be fine with it.
All right, so
There's
let's put 4 guys. Okay, then let's put 4 guys in from this. So I'm going to pick out some of the remaining guys. Randall Cunningham? No.
No.
Donovan McNabb?
No.
Okay. Steve McNair?
No.
Okay, so you got none of the quarterbacks. Remember, you got to put 4 in. You got to put 4 players in here. Tiki Barber? No. Corey Dillon? No. Eddie George? No.
No.
Jamal Lewis? No. Fred Taylor?
Closer, but no.
Herschel Walker?
No, because it's a Pro Football Hall of Fame, not a Football Hall of Fame.
Exactly. Ricky Waters?
No.
Brian Westbrook?
Kidding me?
All right. So so again, we have none.
We have none.
We have none. I'm going into the wideouts here.
Are you agreeing with me on these or no?
Those running backs, absolutely. I think Donovan, Steve McNair, and Randall, one of them's going in. I don't think all of them are going in. I think one of them.
If one goes in, I think it's Donovan.
I would agree. He should wear an orange hat. Okay. Or this may be the year of the offensive lineman once we get to those. Joe Horn?
No.
Ocho Cinco?
More interesting, but no.
Jimmy Smith?
No.
Reggie Wayne? How about Reggie Wayne versus Andre Johnson?
Didn't they play? They played together at the U.
And they played together in their last year.
No, I would take Andre Johnson over Reggie Wayne.
Okay. Tight ends, I'm not going to go through because none of them are worthy. Tony Baselli.
Yes.
That's one. Willie Anderson. I like Willie Anderson. It's just he played on those Bengal teams where, like, unless your name is Anthony Munoz, you're probably not getting in. DeBrickashaw Ferguson's a no. Jordan Gross.
No.
Olin Kreutz.
No.
Okay. Logan Mankins.
No.
All right, so I'm going to have to say this just for you, but Chris Snee?
Yeah.
All right, so we got one. Still got
We got
one.
one.
Jared Allen. Close.
No, but I can be persuaded.
Leslie
Plus-
O'Neal.
No.
Now we're getting – okay, no for Leslie O'Neal. Simeon Rice. No.
No.
Justin Smith. Richard
No.
Seymour.
Maybe.
Okay, I'm putting Seymour in. I got Woolfolk in too, so that's 3. I got 3. Kevin Williams.
Who?
Remember
The defensive lineman from Minnesota?
Minnesota. Yep.
No.
Bryant Young.
No.
Okay. Linebackers. Cornelius Bennett.
No.
London Fletcher.
Interesting, but no.
Seth Joyner.
No.
Sam Mills.
Yeah.
Okay. Pat Swilling. Now remember, Ricky Jackson got in. I needed to tell you that because
Yeah, I know.
if Ricky gets in, does Vaughn Johnson, Sam Mills?
I was going to say the greatest 4 from Super Tecmo Bowl, the greatest linebacking crew outside of the Giants.
Ever.
No Swilling.
By the way, the Bears are also in that group, right? With Wilbur Marshall, like that group of linebackers.
Otis Wilson and Mike Singletary.
Yeah, those. Yeah. All right. Eric Allen and Rondé Barber.
No.
To neither one.
Neither one.
Okay. Leroy Butler.
No.
Albert Lewis.
No.
Tim McDonald.
Did he have a farm?
Asante Samuel.
Isn't he playing for? Oh, that's his kid. No.
Yes, that means we're old. Troy Vincent.
No.
Darren Woodson. Not Charles Woodson. Darren.
Yeah. No. It's no.
Okay. You want me to go through the punters and the kickers? Does Gary Anderson eventually get in?
This may be because we're running into a problem here.
Right. You got to look for in.
There is no
slam dunk
here for any of these guys. And
no, I know that.
If you had told me that not four people didn't have to, that there was no.
If this was the Baseball Hall of Fame, none of them would be going.
Maybe Woolfolk. Maybe Woolfolk. Maybe Andre Johnson. Maybe. I think Baselli should be in.
I think so too. Baselli was the best of the best when he was.
Yeah, he was.
He didn't last very long. And as long as you have the Terrell Davis exception.
Exactly. It's a Terrell Davis exception.
My God, I hate that exception. Like, I hate when precedent is set, when I don't agree with precedent to begin with. I mean, the Terrell.
Is that like the Texas Supreme Court ruling?
Oh. Really? We had to bring up politics on this show?
Wow. Not the first time.
I know. It should be the last. Anyway, Dick Vermeil, in or out? It's a yes or no vote for Vermeil.
Is he part of the four?
No. Believe it or not, he's not part of the four. As a new thing for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, they have to vote on a coaching finalist every year to get more coaches in. So is Vermeil yes or no?
It's close, but no.
Okay. Is Cliff Branch a yes or a no?
He's in already, I thought.
No.
He was already selected.
He's the senior finalist.
He was selected. He's in. And it would have been no.
No, hold on. 18 finalists will be presented. The finalists will consist of 15 modern-day finalists and the recently named senior finalist. The senior finalists are voted yes or no.
Oh, maybe.
He's not in yet.
I thought he was in already.
No, he's the finalist, and now they vote yes or no.
No.
Okay, Art McNally. I think he was an offensive line coach, right?
No, he was a ref.
Was it ref?
Yeah, he was a ref.
Oh, then he's definitely a no. He's the former director of officiating. You're absolutely right. Well done on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, every once in a while. Okay, so so explain to me this. We're going to move off of this for a second, move on to a little bit of college football. How does Maryland and Illinois last 4 hours and 15 minutes? I'm still trying to figure out how a game that starts at 9 o'clock is over at 1:15, does not go into overtime, is just and doesn't score 150 points.
Do you know what the scary part was?
It wasn't a good game?
I stayed up till 1:15 to watch it.
That's not surprising. It may be scary, but that's certainly not surprising. How does that happen? And I watched last week a good amount of college football. I watched the Florida-Alabama game. I watched the Auburn-Penn State game. And we can get into those in a little bit. But how does it happen that people complain all the time about a baseball game being 3 hours, and yet there's a college football game that doesn't even go into overtime that is 4 hours and 15 minutes?
Because nobody stayed up to watch the game. What happened was this. As best as I can tell, Illinois quarterback Brandon Peters, who I think was a transfer from Michigan. Excuse me, I'm tired just thinking about the game.
Should be.
It was like 9 for 30. So there was a million incomplete. He had a million incomplete passes. There were a zillion penalties. It was Maryland should have. It was a game Maryland years ago. last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago would have lost. The fluky dumb play on a 3rd and 15, Illinois completed a pass and fumbled, and their wide receiver recovered it and ran for a touchdown. Maryland should have won it a little bit easier. I don't really have an answer. I just don't.
Okay,
it just felt like forever.
So the Alabama-Florida game was a good game. I mean,
some parts, yeah.
And Penn State and Auburn was a very good game. I enjoyed watching. Look, I'm not a Penn State guy. I think anybody that went to Syracuse is not a Penn State guy just in general. But the fact is, having fans back at the stadiums are so nice to watch. It just changes the dynamic. And it hasn't happened in the NFL. In fact, home field advantage through the first 2 weeks of the season has not been a thing. I think home field teams have only won 40% of the games, or roughly that. But in college, you can see how it is back with vengeance. I mean, those Penn State, that whiteout,
that was pretty good.
It was.
I think we lost a recruit because of that, actually.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
So this week we got Notre Dame versus Wisconsin, and everybody rooting against Notre Dame. Is that in Wisconsin? Is this the end of the Notre Dame cycle, and now finally we can stop thinking about them as a playoff team?
I haven't thought about them as a playoff team since they almost lost to Toledo.
Well, as long as they keep winning, they're a playoff.
They're 2-0, 3-0.
Yep.
It's 7-0. I'll think about it. I mean, I'm just looking at their schedule quickly, so bear with me. And I mean, playing USC doesn't look like it may be too difficult this year, but let's see here, teams. But I think they lose at Wisconsin, to be fair. But come on, Independence, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Okay. Oh, that's the South Florida Bulls, because obviously I can't hit the correct button. Yeah, they play Wisconsin, Cincinnati, and then they go to Virginia Tech.
Okay.
Then they play USC, and then they play North Carolina. They're not going to the playoff. They're not going 4-1 in that group. If they do, then you know what? They absolutely deserve. If they can go 10-1 with this schedule,
yeah,
God bless them. They belong there.
Well, one of the more interesting things of watching the games at the bar, especially with Alabama fans, was them looking at me and asking me why I was rooting for Florida. And I said it's very easy. It's one word. And my co-host on my sports radio show knows it greatly. It's called chaos. I absolutely want chaos. And this may be the year of chaos, because I see Georgia beating Bama in the SEC title game, having a loss. Georgia may not have a loss. They may be the SEC team without a loss, but they always seem to lose against a team that they shouldn't lose against. So there's a loss. I see this as being chaos, and I'm hoping beyond hope that we find some of that. And I thought that Florida beating Bama would have done that for me, which is another reason why I was rooting for Auburn in an Auburn bar. And everybody thought I was an Auburn fan. And I'm like, guys, it's just chaos. And as long as I'm in your bar, I'll continue to root for your team so I don't get my ass kicked on top of everything else. So, all right. So baseball coming down to its final weeks here. Do you care?
Not particularly.
So the Yankees are in the playoffs right now.
No, they're in the playoff run. If they're in by a half game.
You're right. They are the second wild card in by a half game right now, with a 56-game winning percentage. The Mets are 9.5 out, and this is the end of that. They have fallen to 73 and 79, and say goodbye to Luis Rojas.
I was going to say new coach,
new GM, the bat boy. Steve Cohen is going to wipe the slate clean.
Is DeGrom going to come back next year without a problem?
Well, supposedly he's coming back next week. So they're going to have him and Thor throw one game next week to end the season.
What a shame. I mean, no, I mean, I don't mean that. I mean, look, what an amazing year he was having.
He was. Look, it is the hardest part of sports is obviously the injuries that happen. And here we are with Jake DeGrom, just to tell you what he did in the first half of the year as far as pitching is concerned. Not even just pitching. I mean, you can go into his hitting stats too. But DeGrom goes 7-2, 92 innings with a 1.08 ERA and a .55 whip. Like, that is insane. That is stats we have not seen since probably ever. Dwight Gooden type stats from 1985, Roger Clemens from 1986. Did you finally get to watch the Netflix documentary, the ESPN 30 for 30?
No, I'll watch it in the next month or so. I'm not. It's like you with The Last Dance. I mean, yeah. I'll watch it. I'll get to it. It's not pressing for me.
Okay, fair enough. And as we do during the week, we have shorter shows because we Seth and I both work during the day. So we're going to end with our final 5 minutes, Seth, unless you have something else. I wanted to talk about Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel, who has a back injury, and I have a back injury too. So I get the fact that back injuries are really, really painful. And there is very little you can do about a back injury except have surgery. And surgeries only work probably 50 to 60% of the time. And Jack Eichel was the captain of the Buffalo Sabres, had a herniated disc in his neck. The team and him have battled over how to deal with this. Eichel wants to have a surgery that has never been done to an NHL player, which is basically a replacement disc. The Sabres want a non-surgical way. And Eichel's in the fourth year of an 8-year, $80 million contract. Seth, I don't know who to side with here. Look, if you're the athlete, you take care of yourself, right? And but if you're the team, I guess you tell the athlete, look, you can go do this, but it's on your own dime, right? And it's on your own risk. But the Players Association is never going to go for that. These are guaranteed contracts.
Right.
So today he failed his physical and he was stripped of his captaincy. Not really sure that means very much to him.
Well, he doesn't want to be there anyway.
He doesn't want to be there. But at the same time, they're not going to get value for him while he's there. Oh, one more thing. Ben Simmons this week decided not to go to camp. A, what are the chances that you think he'll show up? And B, if he doesn't show up, when will he be traded by? If he's traded at all.
He'll be traded when the right deal comes to Morey. Morey's not going to is not a panic guy.
Okay.
He's not going to get rid of him just for the sake of getting rid of him. I mean, I don't know what Morey wants. Does he want?
I know what he wants.
He wants Damian Lillard.
Right. We both know what he wants. The question is he won't get. I mean, the scenario is he won't get it, at least right now. So does he show up at camp? That's number one.
Probably not.
Okay, so assume he doesn't show up at camp. At what time of the year, give me a date, a month and a day, that he is no longer a member of the Philadelphia 76ers? How long do you think it lasts?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think Morey's going to rush to trade him unless he has a trade that he's comfortable with.
Sure.
It's not, we're hearing Sacramento, but I don't think Heald, Bagley, and Halliburton's going to do it.
Oh, I think that would do it. I think that gets it done. I think Halliburton is the key piece in that. I think.
But he is. Look, they want to for Sacramento. It's a dream. I mean, you brought in the guard from Baylor,
yep.
who will be a good supplemental player.
Damian Williams.
You need defensive help. Simmons gives you that. You're a young run and gun team with DeAndre Fox. Simmons fits that.
I love that.
It works, except Simmons I don't know how happy Simmons is going to be to go to California. To go to Sacramento. Excuse me.
I was about to say he'll be very happy if he goes to Southern Cal, like to San
They're not
Francisco.
going to. Who the hell? Yeah, I heard that. That's great. Who are the Lakers and Clippers going to trade for?
No, I was talking about Golden State.
Golden State supposedly. This came out today. Golden State hasn't even approached him on it.
Right. Oh no, because Golden State doesn't have the win now players that they would want. They don't need a Wiseman, and you're not going. Those 2 lottery picks do nothing for Joel Embiid right now.
Right. So you're looking realistically. You're looking at the Kings,
Minnesota.
You're looking at Minnesota, which is a combination of draft picks and Russell.
Well, unless they're giving up Edwards, which I don't think that
They're not giving up. You're not giving up Edwards. There's no way.
And they just fired their GM yesterday.
Exactly.
So
you're not trading with Minnesota. We've heard John Wall. I don't buy that. I don't think he gets traded for a while.
If you're Philadelphia and you get offered John Wall, hear me out. John Wall and 4 first-rounders for Ben Simmons. Houston's first-rounders.
Then you do it.
You do it, right? Wall gets you where you need to be for this year. Maybe you get another maybe you get also, I know they've been looking to dump Eric Gordon. I'm not saying that Gordon's part of the trade, but maybe that works.
You know what? Gordon fits the JJ Redick position.
Right. So I'm saying, so you bolster your team today and you bolster your team for tomorrow, getting the picks from Houston. I think that trade works. I think that trade works for both sides. I'm just the only person that may not work for is the guy that matters, and that's Joel Embiid. So Joel Embiid wants a shooter. He doesn't necessarily.
But if you get Eric Gordon.
Right. No, I get it. So that's a good lineup as long as they're not giving up Maxey too, right? Yeah. You can't give up Maxey as well. So, okay, take it away. You got a couple
I got nothing today.
All right. All right. So next week we'll explore more about the NBA, and then in the following 2 weeks we have our NBA preview and then our NHL preview. So that's Seth.
Can't wait for the NHL preview. He'll handle the NHL preview.
My brother and I will handle the NHL preview.
Perfect.
That's Seth Kamens. I'm Sean Palmer. Seth and Sean Sports Radio. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one, everybody.